Hey guys. So today I'm going to do story time. I'm going to make this kind of short and sweet because I got to hop on a call in about 15 minutes. And I'm not going to lie, I've been staring at myself in this stupid camera for far too long, trying to figure out how my hair should look. My lighting in my room is horrible, and my give a fuck factor has gone down a way lot. So it is what it is. And to be honest, I'm not really into story time, and plus I'm sitting in my bed, so I feel like it's a little bit of pillow talk that I don't do, period. So we're just going to get right into it. I'm going to do a quick overview, and then we'll go from there. And my sister actually called me the other day after she watched that one video that I made, and she told me that she thinks I should tell a little bit more of my story because it might relate to people. But I'm not going to go into major details. It's not necessary. So I grew up in a small town in Illinois when I was 18 or 19. I grew up like an hour outside of the city. So when I was 18 or 19, I moved out to Florida to do an internship at Disney World. I was there for like between 4 and 6 months. I don't really know the exact times. But when I moved out there, I got exposed to a lot of new things. I worked at Disney, so there was people from all over the world, different cultures, different generations, different, backgrounds. It was actually an amazing experience. I wouldn't take it back for anything. I actually referred to me going to Disney as me having my bubble popped, because I think that, sometimes I'm not saying that growing up in a small town is a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. But sometimes when you're not exposed to certain things, you get your bubble popped. I mean, you just, you wake up one day and you're like, holy shit, things that I thought really aren't at all. And it's just kind of, it's a reality check. I went through a major reality check. Moving on, when I moved back, I moved to the city. I went to school for a little bit. I didn't finish school because when I was there, I ended up meeting a boy. And he was from Chicago. He was from the South Side. I mean, it was shit. I don't know how else to explain it. It was a shit-tastic relationship. I mean, it was just all around bad. We went through, we had good times. I mean, we did have good times. I think that almost everybody in every single relationship, no matter how bad it really gets, the reason why they're there is because there was some good times. So it wasn't all bad, but it was mostly bad. I went through him, just the typical, lying, cheating, whatever. I mean, I don't really know how to explain it. It's just not, again, I feel like this is like confession right now, and I'm not into it. Went through, physical abuse, emotional abuse, homelessness. I was homeless for a little while. I slept in my car that he had most of the time that he took. Went through that. I lived on the block for a little bit. There was a lot of different factors that went on, and a lot of times I don't like telling people this type of thing because I kind of use it to my advantage, because a lot of people look at me and they, 99.9% of the population judge a book by its cover without even knowing facts behind it. And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. It's just human nature. It's what humans do. So I allow people to do that to me, and I use it as a tool to, really figure out what your intentions are. And like I said, I've always taken every single situation that I've been in and learned from it. So I kind of utilize that period of my time, of my life as a learning tool, and it's made me so much stronger. And being in that situation, I met the person that I have been seeing for a while, and you know, that's a blessing in itself. So after that, after getting out of that situation, I started bartending. I went and worked at a bank for a little while. I went and got my real estate license, and I have a very creative mind. So I have like the squirrel. I have squirrel syndrome. I'm always like the new shiny object is, it's so appealing to me. And I have so many ideas when I get into it, but then finishing a project is highly difficult. But as long as you know your personality and you know what you need to focus and double down on, I do believe that you should focus on your strengths and not your weaknesses. I do believe that you should find people who compliment you and take over the weaknesses that you have. But I kind of wanted to give you guys that a little bit of overview because, it's not like I've experienced a lot in my life when it comes to business, when it comes to personal, when it comes to family, dealing with, people not accepting, family not accepting who you're with, whether they were right or wrong about it, and having to push through that. I went through a period where I was just uncontrollable. Like, I one time I went out drinking and I got into a fight. I ended up having to go to jail for it. So, there's a lot of things that I've experienced that allow me to, talk to people about certain things. And, the people that I choose to have in my life now, I choose them to be in my life for a reason, and I know that sometimes it's hard to, differentiate who you should listen to and who you shouldn't listen to. So when it comes to certain things, you can listen to me, but again, I'm not claiming to be anything of an expert on anything. But I do know a little something about having the willpower to get out of situations that you put yourself into. And when I talk about, having to sleep in my car and going through homelessness and shit like that, and, I remember the first time, this is actually kind of funny. I remember the first time I ever saw a cockroach. You don't even call them cockroaches. I did that for the white people. First time I ever saw a roach. I remember we were playing spades, and we were sitting around drinking, and I remember, because roaches have a tendency to sit up in the corners of the walls, so I remember sitting there and I saw one, and I was like, that was my first time I ever saw one. I was very naive to certain things, and I remember sitting there and looking at it, and I was like, that is a big ass bug though. And everybody around me was cracking up. I swear to God. And I had no idea why it was funny. Because I'm like, that's not funny. That's a big ass bug. Like, look at that bug. Does anyone see that bug? And everybody's laughing about it. And I remember one of the guys looked at me. He's like, that's not a bug. That's a roach. I'm like, what the fuck is a roach? I can't. And I'm sorry. And I don't mean to do that. It's just that, and I don't because for some people that's disrespectful to have that type of reaction. So I don't mean to have that type of reaction. It's just I can't, not growing up around certain things and having your bubble popped and getting exposed to different ways that different people live, whether it's a choice or not, because some people it's not, everyone says that it's a choice. It's a choice. It's a choice. It's a choice to a certain extent with some people. So I don't mean to be disrespectful when I have that type of reaction, but it's like when you don't grow up around certain things, you just don't know. I mean, you have no idea. So I think that's why, I really wanted to do this too, because I know that there's a certain level of people that I can reach, that I can connect with. And because I have experienced certain things. Like, I mean, again, I don't want to go into too much detail, because I don't know if it's really appropriate. And again, I kind of use my background as a tool for myself. So I don't really know how much I want to tell. I'll write a book one day. How about that? I'll write a book and you all can read it. I think that's the best form of storytelling anyways. But I don't know. So, and maybe this is the better form of storytelling. And maybe when we get more long down the lines and people start asking me more questions about situations, I'm not at all, opposed to answering questions. I don't look at what I did in the past and I don't frown upon myself. I don't regret anything that I did. Everything that I did, I learned from. Like I said, I use it as a tool for who I am today. So it's not that. It's just I don't know if it's really appropriate at this point in time. I don't know, how many people are really going to listen to what I have to say. So I don't know if I'm speaking on deaf ears right now. I'm just going to leave it at that. That was a very broad overview, a brief overview of things. If you guys, have questions, go ahead and ask me. Again, I have no problem answering any questions. But yeah, I mean, you could reach out to me if you're a female who's going through struggles with relationship-wise, abuse, whatever it is. If you are wondering how to get out of, a situation that you grew up in and you don't know how to, kind of get yourself out of this situation, you can reach out to me. Whatever it is. If you need a little street smarts, I have no problem doing that too. I had to do that with one of my clients in real estate. She was moving out here from Wyoming. Well, she was back and forth between California and Wyoming, and she was moving to Chicago. And where she was moving, it was it's like right underneath. I don't know if anybody here is from the city that watches this, but it's right off of. Why can't I remember the name now? It's the bridge. It's the bridge that goes. It's off of North. It's technically North Lakeshore Drive, right? So, and the building's right next to the bridge, and the bridge either goes down to East Lower Wacker or it goes up to Lakeshore Drive. So, she was moving over there. She was moving from California, Wyoming. So I had to tell her a few things about the city. Just so that she had a little head knowledge about things to do and not to do, to look out for. And I wasn't telling her to scare her or to make her feel like she doesn't know anything, but if you're not from Chicago, I'm telling you, there's certain things you don't know. And that can be with any city, but Chicago's a little bit more ruthless when it comes to certain things. So but I love my city. I love Chicago. I've lived in different cities. I always come back home. I love it here. I mean, Chicago's absolutely beautiful. I would never I would never change it. I really wouldn't. I mean, this is home, so. Again, if you guys are, I mean, if you watch this and you are deciding you want to come out to Chicago for vacation, you need some spots that you need to go to, restaurants and stuff like that. Again, I love trying new restaurants, and Chicago has amazing places to eat, absolutely amazing. So that is my call coming in. I have to go, and I appreciate you guys for listening. I babbled on for a little while. Again, if you guys have more questions, just let me know. I would be happy to have a conversation with you. If you guys want me to do another video going into more detail, I'm happy to do that too. So I hope you guys enjoy, and I will be probably most likely posting tomorrow, and my mentor is really yelling at me right now. So I gotta hit it. I will talk to you guys soon. Have a good one.